Welcome to Space Age Rabbit, where I dive into forgotten and short lived TV shows, the ones that have slipped through the cracks. And I also count down top 10 hits from each year as well. I'm working my way through the decades, so if that interests you, please consider subscribing. Today, I'll be looking at some of the forgotten and short lived shows of 1961. First up is Bus Stop. Bus Stop starred Marilyn Maxwell as Grace Sherwood, the no nonsense owner of a diner and bus station in the fictional town of Sunrise, tucked away in the Colorado Rockies. The show counted on guest stars to play the travelers who came and went each week. But as time went on, that became more challenging to keep up with. So the focus gradually shifted to the townspeople instead. And that change left very little for Marilyn Maxwell to do, and after 13 episodes, she decided to leave. She later said, "There was nothing for me to do but pour a second cup of coffee and point the way to the men's room." One episode in particular caused a stir. A Lion Walks Among Us. Directed by a young Robert Altman, singer Fabian played a hitchhiker who held up a grocery store, which ends up in the death of the grocer. It was pretty graphic for the time period, and the backlash was intense. 25 affiliates refused to air it, and it was even brought up in a congressional hearing about television content. Bus Stop ran for one season, 26 episodes, and aired on ABC on Sunday nights at 9 p.m.
And thanks to Oldsmobile's exclusive new twin triangle stability, you enjoy the smoothest, steadiest ride ever. A ride cushioned in rubber at more than 90 points. Oldsmobile's Classic 98 is available in 5 models for 1961. Distinctive, distinguished, decidedly new. Your Oldsmobile dealer will be happy to serve you.
Calvin and the Colonel was an animated sitcom that followed the misadventures of Colonel Montgomery J. Claxon, a sharp tongued fox, Calvin T. Burnside, his not so bright bear sidekick.
Well, come to think of it, it does get lonely now and then. Sometimes I regret setting those rat traps.
The Colonel worked in real estate, but most of the time, he and Calvin were off chasing one get rich quick scheme after another, and none of them worked out, of course. The original Amos and Andy radio actors, Freeman Gosden and Charles Carell, voiced the show's main characters. And in fact, some of the episodes of Calvin and the Colonel were pulled straight from the old Amos and Andy radio scripts. Because of low ratings, the show was canceled, but it returned 2 months later to honor sponsorship agreements with Lever Brothers, who had sponsored the original Amos and Andy radio show in the 1940s. Calvin and the Colonel ran for one season, 26 episodes on ABC, initially on Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, before being moved to Saturday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Hathaways followed married couple Walter and Eleanor Hathaway, who had become the legal guardians of 3 performing chimpanzees, Candy, Charlie, and Enoch. The chimps were a trained animal act called the Marquis Chimps, who had gained some fame through variety shows and commercials. Peggy Cass played the over the top Eleanor, a proud chimp mom who fully embraced the idea of raising the chimps as her kids. Jack Weston played her skeptical husband Walter, a real estate agent constantly exasperated by the chaos the chimps brought into their home. Each week, the show revolved around sitcom style hijinks. The chimps getting into trouble, misunderstandings with the real estate clients, and attempts to make the trio big showbiz stars. Critics weren't kind, and the ratings weren't great. It was canceled after just one season. The Hathaways aired 26 episodes and aired on ABC on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Margie took viewers back to the days of flappers, speakeasies, and the Charleston dance craze. The story centered around Margie Clayton, a sweet and spirited teenager living in a small New England town. She lives with her parents, her little brother, and her Aunt Phoebe. Margie's best friend, Maybelle Johnson, was a full on flapper, complete with the fashion and carefree attitude to match the times. Margie finds herself in typical teenage predicaments, conflicts with her parents, hassles at school, and the classic teenage love triangle with two boys, Haywood and Johnny, who both competed for her attention. Margie ran for one season, 26 episodes, and originally aired on ABC on Thursday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern before moving to Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. The New Breed starred Leslie Nielsen as Lieutenant Price Adams and former Major League Baseball infielder John Berardino as Sergeant Vince Cavelli. The series followed a special division of the LAPD called the Hot Shot Detail. These weren't your average beat cops. This team was called in to handle high profile cases which were considered unsolvable and track down criminals who had eluded the police. The show had a moody, noir like tone with shadowy cinematography and serious themes. But the New Breed struggled in its time slot, competing against The Red Skelton Show. The New Breed ran for only one season, 36 episodes, and aired on ABC on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern before moving to Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Straightaway starred Brian Kelly as Scott Ross and John Ashley as Clipper Hamilton, co-owners of the Straightaway Garage, a custom auto shop where they designed, built, and repaired race cars. But the show wasn't just about tuning engines. Week after week, they found themselves caught up in all sorts of adventures. Whether it was street racing, mysterious hit and runs, or even the occasional kidnapping, there was always some shady character stirring up trouble. The show was initially sponsored by Autolite, a company known for making spark plugs, and it was going to be called The Racers, with a strong focus on high speed action. But partway through the production, Ford Motor Company bought Autolite. And from a public relations standpoint, Ford wasn't too keen on promoting dangerous racing scenes. They wanted the show to highlight the safer side of cars, especially for family audiences. But as a result, many of the already filmed racing sequences were edited down or completely removed to tone things down. They even made a board game based on the show, but the show didn't last. Straightaway ran for one season, 26 episodes, and aired on ABC on Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern before moving to Wednesdays at 8 p.m.
Have you noticed wherever you find fun today, you'll find Pepsi Cola, light, bracing, clean tasting Pepsi.
Next up, Target the Corruptors. The show followed Paul Marino, a tough investigative reporter for Crime Weekly magazine, who, alongside his young assistant Jack, went about exposing crooked businessmen, phony charities, and corrupt politicians. The villains hiding in plain sight. Each week, the duo took on a different kind of corruption, and these weren't your usual whodunit mysteries. Instead, the show had more of a documentary style feel, part crime drama, part social commentary. The series creator believed that drawing viewers into real world issues that affected everyday lives was a fresh approach for a TV drama. Even though the show earned strong ratings, ABC still chose to cancel it after just one season. Target the Corruptors aired 35 episodes on ABC on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. Frontier Circus was an unusual mix of Wild West drama and circus adventure. Set in the 1880s, the show followed a traveling circus as it rolled across the rugged American frontier, performing in dusty towns and getting caught up in all kinds of trouble along the way. Every episode felt like its own little adventure. With each stop, the circus ran into new faces, fresh problems, and often a life lesson or two. One week, they may be helping a town in trouble. The next, they're fending off rustlers or sorting through drama under the big top. And there were plenty of guest stars, too, including Elizabeth Montgomery, Mickey Rooney, Sammy Davis Jr. That's just naming a few. But despite its unique premise and many guest stars, the series lasted only one season. Frontier Circus ran for 26 episodes and aired on CBS on Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, before moving to Thursday nights at 8 p.m., and then moving back to its original time slot of 7:30 p.m. So that's what I have for this video, but I do have more 1961 shows to talk about. So keep a lookout for part 2. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like this sort of content, please subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.
I haven't seen you since graduation. That was 1950. But Ellen looks so young. I just got to ask Ellen, how do you manage to have such a lovely complexion?
Palmolive Silk Facials. They can help most any girl be younger looking.
Yes, a gentle Palmolive facial. 1 minute massage 3 times daily. That's the secret.